Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. So today we are talking about the role of fiber and protein, two components in the macronutrient world, on weight loss. We first will go very quickly about what fiber and protein is. This is not going to be a biochemical class. That's going to be probably another video, but you need to know some of the basic knowledge about what fiber and protein is so that we can all talk. What I really want to explore is what those macronutrients do in our body, because in contrast to other carbohydrates or fats, which are primarily used for energy in our body, proteins and fiber are not. And yet they're extremely important. So we're going to look what they're going to do in our body. And then we will also ask, what is their impact on weight loss? And then at the end of it all, we will ask, what does it mean for you? The Western standard diet, often used in science to simulate an unhealthy diet model in experiments. It's too much saturated fats, too many trans fats, too many sugars, and often not enough protein and fiber. But what does it actually mean? Well, to explore that, we need to understand a little bit better what protein and fiber actually are. So let's talk about proteins first. Biochem class number 1. Proteins are folded chains that are made out of several peptides usually, and those peptides are constructed of many single amino acids. There are 20 amino acids, which are building blocks of all proteins and oligopeptides and peptides. And the sequence of those amino acids, often in the thousands, are assembled, is determined by our DNA. Our genetic code codes for single amino acids that are then assembled to proteins. So our body can assemble 11 amino acids, right? Out of those 20 that we need. But 9 amino acids we cannot. And those are the amino acids that are essential. We rely on outside protein sources to get those amino acids, aka our food. Protein sources that do not supply all of those essential amino acids are usually called incomplete protein sources. Most plant products, like with the exception of soybeans, lack all essential amino acids. And most animal products are complete protein sources. So remember that, because that will become important later on again. Let's talk about fiber for a minute. Fiber are carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are also chains that are made from other pieces. They're not made from amino acids. They're made from sugars. And sugars contain carbon like C, O, and H, right? So longer carbohydrate chains, they're called complex carbohydrates. For example, amylose and amylopectin are examples of plant-based long-chain carbohydrates. They can be digested by our body because they have open ends where our enzymes can attack and then disassemble those carbohydrate chains. Carbohydrates are a pretty diverse group of nutrients, and they are neither bad or good. And the ones that we can use to produce energy can be short-chained, and very long-chained. And the complex carbohydrates are typically a much more healthier option for you to eat. So in contrast to the carbohydrates that we can digest, fiber are carbohydrates that our body cannot digest because they are closed chains. They're not open chains. So our enzymes are not capable of opening up that chain and then using the sugars for energy. So now there are two different types of fiber, soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Smaller closed chains of fiber, that's typically the soluble fiber. It will help with several functions. A lot of your gut microbiome, the bacteria and the fungi and the protozoa that live in our intestines, they feed, among other things, also on soluble fiber. And then there's non-soluble fiber. Those are very long, close carbohydrate chains. Lignin or cellulose are, for example, those long chains. These long chains pass our intestine system, but they're still very important because they promote bowel movement and they promote gut cleanliness. So both soluble and insoluble fiber are all plant-based and have a ton of health benefits and positive impact on our immune system. And most commonly known is, for example, that constant adequate fiber intake of both soluble and insoluble fiber has been shown to reduce the risk of colon cancer significantly. So let's explore what protein and fiber actually does in our body. So we investigated already a little bit the role of fiber in your body, right? There are two main functions. The first one is to clean your gut and improve gut movement, right? Bowel movement. And then the second one is to feed your gut microbiome. In contrast to what a lot of people here on social media claim, we actually don't know a lot about our gut microbiome yet. We know it's pretty diverse. We know it contains fungi, bacteria, and protozoa. We know that there is a correlation to our health and the gut microbiome, and we kind of getting a better idea what is good for our gut microbiome, what is not good for our gut microbiome, but the science is pretty spotty still on our gut microbiome, right? What we do know, though, is that an adequate fiber intake of both soluble and insoluble fiber, 28 to 32 grams of fiber per day, roughly, right, is extremely health beneficial, especially because it usually comes with a healthy, balanced diet approach with a lot of whole foods that is related to reduced blood pressure, reduced risk of diabetes, reduced risk of obesity, reduced cancer risk, right, for certain types of cancer. So those benefits most likely have something to do with our gut microbiome. And in combination with the physical properties of fiber in your intestines. But the science of this is quite spotty still. Now, if we look at protein, our second contestant for this video, remember how we earlier said that most plant products are incomplete protein sources? That is why vegetarians and vegans often have to combine several plant products to get all the essential amino acids. With the exception of soy, and that is why tofu or other soy products are such great protein sources, especially for vegetarian and vegans. So, what you should remember is plants are protein sources and they provide fiber. So they have both, like really important stuff for us. While animal products are complete protein sources, but what they don't provide is fiber, right? Proteins are the building blocks of our body. And that is much more than just muscles. Protein is included in bones, connecting tissue, hairs, nerves, vessels, organs, skin, you name it. Proteins play a major role. And then secondly, proteins are our neurotransmitters. They make our nerves work and our brain function, our muscles move. And then the third big group is proteins are our metabolism. Almost every reaction that happens in our body is assisted by an enzyme. And almost every enzyme in our body is made from, you guessed it, protein. So let's talk about protein and fiber and weight loss. Before we start, I hate that I have to say this every time, but there's so much BS out there in the social media world. And to all the Dr. Mark fans, right? The main driver for weight loss is a caloric deficit. If you want to lose weight, you have to consume less calories than you burn, right? And if you don't lose weight, you consume too many calories, period. Yeah, it might come from the alcohol, might be too much junk food, but it might also be the steak with the butter that you're eating because you're on a keto carnivore diet, right? There are several ways how protein can aid in your weight loss journey. First, it takes longer for protein to be digested compared to carbohydrate and fat. So often on a weight loss journey, a higher protein diet, somewhere between 1.4 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, will actually help you to feel saturated over the day. Secondly, while you're losing weight, your body is not losing just fat. Often muscle tissue is also disassembled. And this is true whether you're not on a keto diet or on a low-fat diet. And it can be as much as 40% of your lost weight is coming from muscle tissue and not from adipose tissue, which is what you want to target. So this is why higher protein intake in a hypocaloric diet, no matter if it's high-fat or low-fat diets, right? In combination with frequent exercise, cardio and resistance training, has been shown over and over again to be an excellent strategy to achieve weight loss. And that is true for high-fat diets, low-carb diets, low-fat diets, high-carb diets. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. How does fiber aid in weight loss? Fiber provides, first and foremost, pretty similar to protein, a higher sense of fullness, which is a key factor in a weight loss journey for many people. So as you know, whole foods provide a lot of fiber. They're often nutrient-dense but calorie-poor, so they can also provide a lot of fullness. And often key nutrients such as carbohydrates are also embedded in the fiber matrix, which then slows down the digestion of those nutrients and provides a longer support of blood sugar into the bloodstream. And last but not least, science is still spotty on that, but has become a little bit more supportive of the idea that a constant adequate fiber intake, we're talking consistency, right, is leading to a diverse and what we call healthy microbiome, which can have a positive impact also on obesity and all. So what does that mean for you? Whole foods, and plants, they provide fiber and protein, and a diverse diet of several plant sources will make sure that you find all the essential amino acids that you need. Animal products are excellent complete protein sources. While they don't provide a lot of fiber, they're excellent protein sources. But ultimately, this is about the change in your diet and your lifestyle and the transformation. Weight loss is often more successful if it's combined not just with the change of your diet, but also if it's combined with exercise. This is what we're talking about in our book. I have a sign-up list in the link of this video so that if you're interested in our book, it's coming out pretty soon. Please sign up to the list. It's anonymous. There's no strings attached. Nobody asks money for you. Nobody wants your name. We just want to know how much are you willing to pay for an ebook and how many people actually would like to buy the book. Changing your diet to a balanced approach that focuses on whole foods, protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates, and incorporating some sort of physical activity in your daily routine without losing yourself in some stupid diet plans or without beating yourself up and with actually looking forward to the food that you're eating, that is your new life. And for most Americans, increasing lean protein intake and eating more whole fruits and vegetables to increase fiber intake, that alone will make a massive impact on your health and will aid in weight loss. If you do that consistently, then you have done one of the best things you've ever done to your body, and that is not a small feast. I hope this was helpful. I want to say thanks to all my subscribers again. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I really hope we can make an impact on your life here on this channel. And if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. It goes a long way, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.